Hello everyone, this is the Resting Flea here, and welcome to our Kerbal Space Program tutorial series. Now, this is going to be a small series. This isn't going to be a very big one. Sorry about that gap, I forgot what I was going to say for a split second. But, what this is going to be about is it's going to be teaching you what to do, the basics of stuff in Kerbal Space Program. And the focus of this one is going to be space planes. And I'm going to use vanilla parts. We're not going to build ships. We're not going to use drone cores, because I don't know if people have those kinds of mods. They're strongly recommended by me, though. I like them. Anyway, we're also definitely not going to use these. We're not going to use propellers. We're not going to use anything like that. We're going to use vanilla parts. And considering this is I'm just going on space planes today, I think I'm gonna show you how to build two different types. I'm gonna show you how to build the MK2 and the MK3 basics because I find them the easiest. Or I can do the one variation of one type of plane, because these two can have different variations to either be space shuttles or planes. Either one. Now we're in the space plane hangar, as we were last video. And we haven't built a plane together yet, so this is where we're going to start. I think we're going to go with the MK2. If we do both variations for one that can go into space and the one that could be atmospheric, this is what we're going to stick with. But I think we're going to go with the two atmospheric ones, because I'm not very good at getting planes in the orbit. I mean, I can do it if I really put my mind to it, but I'm not very good at it. Now, what you're going to want to do is, you're going to have to figure out what you're going to have to know is there's rocket fuel fuselages, and there's regular liquid fuel. Liquid fuel is what you put in regular planes. And how you get air for your engines, the engines have to have air, and you're probably like, why don't you just put the rocket fuel in there? It has oxidizer in it. No. Jet engines get oxidizer, or oxygen, or whatever you want to call it, from air intakes. And the more air intakes you have, the higher up your plane can go, because the more air it's going to gather from the high atmosphere. But this is a basic plane body with a bicoupler so that we can have two engines. Two engines is recommended for this body. This is meant for a sleek, aerodynamic shape. These things are meant to go really fast and go really far. And with the amount of fuel we have in it, it'll get pretty far. It's not going to be like being able to travel around the ground Kerbin 3 times type of plane, but it'll get you somewhere. Now let's move on to engines. There's a whole bunch of engines. The one type that you can't really use because it looks really stupid is the Juno. That's for really basic small planes that I'm not very good at making. I might do that after this one, because that's probably, if you're playing it in a career mode, that's probably the first plane. Those are the first planes you're gonna get. I might do that. I'm thinking about doing a career mode tutorial series separated from this one as well. So I think I'll cover those smaller ones in there. Now we're gonna work with Panthers. Let me just show you some of the variants. There's the Wheezy, the Panther, the Whiplash Turbo Ramjet. There's this, that came with the QuizTech Aerial Pack. That's about what we're using. Where are the rest of the jet engines? Which ones are? The Rapier engine, which is a very powerful engine meant to get stuff into orbit, to let rocket engines take over. I don't know if this came with that pack or not, but I'm not really sure. I think that's all of them that are not modded. So what we're gonna work with is the Panther. Now there used to be different, just plain old jet engines in the game, but they took those out and added a couple more variants. So these are the engines we're gonna be using. Different engines have different thrusts and stuff like that, but now you're also gonna want to pay attention to center of mass and center of lift. And you're also going to notice that this is different. Usually it has like those little triangles like these. But this is mirror mode, as it says right here. And it mirrors the craft, basically. See, if I set it back to just one side, I click it back in a place it's not there. But if I want it on the other side, I click mirror mode, and boom, it's there. And that works with pretty much everything. It does exactly what it says it does. It mirrors the craft. And one thing you're going to need on your plane, no matter what, if it's going to start out in the atmosphere, so you're going to need types of wings on it. The first type I've always put on are the horizontal ones, and these ones are what's going to keep it from spinning out of control, like, horizontally. That's going to keep it from flipping all around like this. And then you can use whatever you want for these, but I'm going to use this kind, and this one keeps it from rolling crazily. And now we move on to the main wings, and you want to click on these two for when you want to do that. This is the center of mass, the big giant red and, not red, am I colorblind? No. Yellow and black ball is the center of mass, and the little blue and black ball is the center of lift. And as you can see, center of lift is pointing upwards. That's where it's going to be lifting the most, because of these two winglets that do generate some lift. But you can either have these in the back or the front, but with this design, I figure that we're going to have them in the back. We're going to use delta wings. They're really small. I think they're the smallest wings available, but they should work. Now, there should be a little bit of a gap in between here. There should be this much space in between your center of mass and lift for it to fly the proper way. And as for control surfaces, there are these 11s, is what they're called in the game, and you just stick as many on there as you want. This doesn't need to be the most maneuverable craft ever. Now, it's a proper thing, don't you think? Wait a minute. No, it's not. It doesn't have any wheels underneath of it. And if you wanted to have something, I have HyperEdit to do this, but if you wanted something to be a seaplane or a boat with vanilla parts, you can put like big giant wheels on it like this to get it over into the water. But a basic plane usually has stuff like medium landing gear. And how you rotate objects in Kerbal Space Program is WASD inside either the VAB or the Spaceplane hangar. That's how you rotate stuff. And now, usually you want the bigger set of gear in the back and the smaller set up in front. I like to rotate these to the front. Oh, Q and E also rotate stuff. So this is a basic little plane. But the only thing left we need to have is Intex, and those are in aerodynamics. You can put these anywhere you want. You can put them below. As you can, it says in the description, adjustable ramp intakes. That means you can put them down if you want to. Like you can angle them downwards if you want. You can retract them, basically. And 4 should be plenty, because we're not going to try and achieve orbit with this thing, because it won't achieve orbit. Now, to flying it. It's not much different than flying a rocket. It's pretty much just flying a sideways rocket. So, if you have ever done that accidentally like I have, you know what it's like. Now, these are meant for just moving around Kerbin easier, or bringing satellites into space using cargo bays. I can't do that. I don't know how. This thing's going abnormally fast. Can we lift it off yet? Yes. Now, the controls are a little different with this one. You hit S to go up, W to go down, A and D turns this thing. And you would think that this would be the normal way of turning, but the easiest way to turn is to actually hit Q and E, which will rotate your plane. And then you hit the up one, and it will turn you around. Note that you're going to lose a lot of speed when you're doing this, and when you finish the turn, you're going to go into a very steep dive, so I shouldn't have done it this low. Okay, see, now we're completely turned around. Now that's the basics of flying a plane. Now, if you wanted to get it into orbit, you probably would do the same procedure with a rocket, but sideways. I'll do that in a different tutorial. But this is just your basic space plane. This is the basics. This is pretty much one of the most basic ones you have. I don't know what that black thing is. Never found out. Probably never will. But this, as you see on rockets, is when they reach around this speed. This is basically the Kerbal Space Program way of telling you that you're breaking the sound barrier. See, as I said, it reached about 100 meters a second just on the runway. So this thing is very fast. So we're gonna revert back to the spaceplane hangar because I'm running out of time. If I want to do anything else, you know what? Let's just make let's not make a space-worthy one. Now that probably auto-saved as an untitled spacecraft. But there's a whole bunch of ones in here that you can check out, like the Raven Spear. This one's probably, if I thought mine was abnormally fast, this thing's probably ridiculous. See, these are some of the more complex designs you could do. The Gull, little seaplane. These are those little tiny engines. This is that little tiny engine. They're meant for either small or slow planes. There's also rovers in here, but unless we're gonna ignore those. Rocket-powered VTOL. Now, I'm still figuring out how to do this myself. So the idea is, these are very rotatable, so they can rotate your craft easily. So, yeah, this is a rocket-powered VTOL. Very advanced, very hard to do. Oh, did I hit launch? Okay, well, I guess we're gonna do this. Now, I think how this thing's staging is supposed to work is that it's supposed to use its engines to lift it off the ground, and then you angle it forward to move it forward. And then you bring these in, and eventually you can detach these, and detach the actual capsule, and then parachute it back down. That's like how this thing, whoa god. The capsule wasn't in that. But that's how you fly that thing. Well, you do it with a lot more staging, but you stage it better, obviously. But you get the basic concept. Now, what else do I want to cover? I think that might be all that I wanted to cover. We did the basics of building a space plane. Now, if you wanted to build a small one, if I can get a very basic small design out in time, I'll try and show you. But basically, these things, parts are a lot smaller. Now, basically, you just want very small parts. There are these tail connectors that attach to the ends to make it seem more aerodynamic. And you should use standard canards on these ones, because they seem to fit the best and work the best on these smaller ones. I'm even going to use one on top. I mean, and stuff like small delta wings, they could be used as fins on rockets if you wanted to. Or back fins if you wanted. But the basic way you can build a small one like this is to have something of this nature, with engines probably attached right here. But that's I'm not gonna get to fly this thing, but I'll show you how to build it. So, there's these. And this will also show you different types of intakes that are available in the game. This is also displaying the use of the Juno, because that fits in those small ones. And there's the main intake for this one are small circular intakes, but if you want little pods like this, there's stuff like the shot cone intake. I can pull it off. If I could find another one. Circular intake, stuff like that. There's a lot of parts to choose from, and there's air brakes for if you want to stop something really fast and you want to land it. But that's gonna be about all the time I have. This was a basic spaceplane tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will see you, and I will see all of you in the next video. Enjoy!